Hello and welcome. Today we are exploring Midwinter Germanic celebrations that took place not at the winter solstice, but later, in late January and early February, when tribes across northern and central Europe honored gods, ancestors, and seasonal transition. So forget about Yule. Instead, we discover Þorrablót, Dísablót, and understand what these rites meant in ancient Germanic culture. So what is Midwinter? For many ancient northern societies, Midwinter was not just one day. It was a seasonal turning point, marking the heart of winter, often recognized after the longest nights had passed. In Germanic calendars, this period filled the months from mid-January to early February, a time when communities came together to endure the deepest cold and celebrate hopes for survival, protection, and renewal. Scholars note that rites and gatherings during this period were part of a broader cycle of seasonal blóts, sacrificial festivals integral to Germanic religion. One of the clearest examples of a late winter Germanic festival is Þorrablót, literally the blót, which means sacrifice or feast, of the old winter month called Þorri. This month ran roughly from mid-January to mid-February, positioning Þorrablót well after the solstice and into the heart of winter. Þorri appears in medieval Norse sources as a figure tied to frost and winter. In the saga tradition, such as the Orkneyinga saga, a yearly sacrifice was offered to Þorri at Midwinter, indicating that this festival likely dates back to pre-Christian Germanic calendrical customs. Though Þorrablót was revived in 19th century Icelandic Romantic nationalism, the continuity of the name and midwinter timing reflect ancient roots. Today, in Iceland and other Nordic communities, the feast focuses on community, food, poetry, and toasting the old gods, echoing the spirit of the historical blót ritual. At its heart, Þorrablót celebrates endurance through winter and community solidarity, gathering to share preserved foods and drink in the darkest part of the year, while anticipating the return of light and warmth. So what was Þorrablót really like? Because our written sources are limited, historians reconstruct Þorrablót from sagas and later attestations. Blót rituals involved offering to gods or ancestral figures, and then sharing meat and drink. Nordic sagas and later folklore emphasize feasting, poetry, and collective celebration, a time to strengthen social bonds. While the exact ancient deity remains debated, Þorri is linguistically linked with Thor, the thunder god associated with strength, protection, and communal well-being. This festival likely varied regionally, among Norwegian, Icelandic, or other Germanic groups, but centered around communal remembrance, survival, and hope for spring. Another important festival in late winter is Dísablót, a sacrificial feast honoring the Dísir, or female ancestral spirits and deities. This festival is documented in multiple medieval sources, including the Hervara saga, Heimskringla, and Vígaglúms saga, indicating its practice across Norse and broader Germanic contexts. The Dísir were understood as powerful protectors, sometimes ancestral females, sometimes supernatural beings connected with fate and fertility. Rituals to honor them served to seek their protection, secure fertility for the community, and facilitate prosperity. Importantly, Dísablót appears to have been associated with late winter and early spring seasonal fairs. For example, at Uppsala in Sweden, the rites were linked to the annual assembly and fair called the Disting, held in February and beyond. This festival combined religious worship with civic life, gatherings at sacred sites, sacrifice, and trading or legal assemblies, demonstrating how deeply cultural and spiritual life were intertwined in Germanic societies. Looking across Þorrablót and Dísablót, we see recurring themes in later midwinter festivals. Ritual offerings to gods or spirits reinforce trust in divine protection, and feasts and assemblies strengthen social bonds amid winter's hardships. These rites mark the psychological midpoint of winter, a way to celebrate perseverance and anticipate renewal. Honoring family and ancestral spirits, especially in Dísablót, connected personal lineage with community well-being. Unlike the solstice-centered Yule festival, these later Midwinter traditions reflect a Germanic understanding of time as cycles, deeply tied to lunar and seasonal rhythms. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Germanic Midwinter celebrations beyond Yule, don't forget to like and subscribe. And let me know in the comments which Germanic festival is your favorite.